Good evening, everybody. This is Emmy After Dark, and I am your host, Emmy, where we talk about everything paranormal. For those of you who were waiting for my live earlier today, I sincerely apologize. I totally feel terrible. Um, I took a nap, and when my alarm went off, my children, or at least one of them, decided to turn off the alarm. And so I got a little bit more nap in than I had anticipated. But I am well rested now. And we have some paranormal stories. Hey, Raph, what do you want to hear? Do you have any interesting cryptid stories you want to hear about? I have the Loveland Frog up, which I thought was interesting. I've never heard that one before. This one's in Ohio, and I don't think Ohio has many. I mean, I don't hear a lot of paranormal stories from Ohio. So this one's new to me. This is from Wikipedia. So it says in Ohio folklore, the Loveland frog, also known as the Loveland frog man or Loveland lizard, is a legendary humanoid frog described as standing roughly 4 feet tall, allegedly spotted in Loveland, Ohio. In 1972, the Loveland frog legend gained renewed attention when a Loveland police officer reported to a colleague that he had seen an animal consistent with descriptions of the frogman. After a reported sighting in 2016, the second officer called a news station to report that he had shot and killed the same creature some weeks after the 1972 incident and had identified it as a large iguana that was missing its tail. Okay, I'm intrigued because it's police officers. Um, Standing 4 feet, that's a really large lizard. So I guess you can't confuse it with a large iguana. um, but it just seems very interesting, like we have, kind of like the sirens, they could have been sea cows, you know, things like that. It's just interesting how some animals can be morphed into legends. Let's see, what else do they say? Here's some police reports. Those are always cool per Wikipedia. On March 3rd, 1972, at 1 a.m., Loveland police officer Ray Shockey was driving on Riverside Drive near the Totes Boot Factory and the Little Miami River when an unidentified animal scurried across the road in front of his vehicle. The animal was fully illuminated in his vehicle's headlights, and he described it as 3 to 4 feet long and about 50 to 75 pounds with leathery skin. He reported spotting the animal crouched like a frog before it momentarily stood erect to climb over the guardrail and back down towards the river. That would be creepy if I saw that. But what would be a frog? That's pretty specific. I know. A frog or a lizard with no tail? Maybe a giant frog person in a suit? I don't know. But honestly, I read something off of graveyardshift.com where there was a report of a truck driver having to cross the road when there was like a arachnid like birth event where like thousands of arachnids were crossing the road and he couldn't. Um because it made the road hazards really conditioned. I think I would take the frog versus like spiders and creepy things running across the road. Um, Ras says I'd freaked out. Or an alligator who has no tail. It could be alligator who has no tail. Um, Maybe it has no tail but longer hind legs. Ras says ew about spiders. Uh, Let's see, what else do they say? 2 weeks after the incident, a second Loveland police officer, and they name the guy, Mark Matthews, reported seeing an unidentified animal crouched along the road in the same vicinity as Shocky's sighting. Matthews shot the animal, recovered the body, and put it in his trunk to show Officer Shockey. Oh, that's another story. I'm kind of a little sad about that one. According to Matthews, it was a large iguana, about 3.5 feet, long. And he didn't immediately recognize it because it was missing its tail. Matthews speculated the iguana had been someone's pet that either got loose or was released when it grew too large. According to Matthews, Shockey was shown the dead iguana and confirmed it was the animal he had seen 2 weeks previously. Matthews recounted the incident to an author of a book about urban legends, but says the author omitted the part that confirmed that the creature was an iguana rather than a frog man. So it was a giant iguana, is what they're saying. And then in 2016, on WCPO TV, Matthews commented on reports of a couple playing Pokemon Go near the river who claimed to see a frog-like creature standing on hind legs. It's like Bigfoot and all that other stuff, Matthews says. I don't believe in Bigfoot either. Well, I mean, if you saw him, if there's multiple sightings, and you confirmed it's an iguana or looks like an iguana with no tail. So you're saying that there's a creature that looks like an iguana with no tail that can stand upright. So is it Lizard Man? Iguana Man? Maybe they misnamed it. But maybe he's real and he comes from the river. Raph says, yeah, I don't know about Bigfoot. Oh, you don't know about Bigfoot? In Michigan, there was a reconfirmed sighting in Ohio. I don't know about Bigfoot in Ohio. He's everywhere though, but in Michigan, they had a sighting from the Department of Natural Resources. They got him on drone, and they confirmed the sighting. They said they got hair samples, but I looked it up and I can't confirm like the follow-up to those hair samples. Roth, I know I said, or I'm sorry, I'm totally butchering this. I mean, I know about Bigfoot, but I mean, is he real? Well, I'm still waiting for Michigan to release those to release that DNA report, because that will really tell us something. Oh, okay, here we go. So, does everybody know Stranger Things? I have not watched Stranger Things, but I know the theory. It's based off of like what the Mokta files and things like that. I'm guessing that children are going through some sort of experiment. I don't know if this is the TV show, but from the Mokta files, that talks about these children in the government, and they're doing experiments with mind control and psychic abilities and all that other stuff. And I guess the story is the children wanted to go home, but they couldn't. They didn't want to do the experiments anymore. So they created a monster from their mind and it attacked the researchers and they had to shut down the project. I'm like paraphrasing from other YouTube videos, so that might not be totally accurate, but that's apparently what the Mata, I'm butchering that, files is about. And Stranger Things. Raph says, no, I haven't either. I'm glad you didn't. I was going to say no spoilers. um, that looks like a cougar. Okay. The Mokta monster was an animal carcass that washed ashore on a beach near the business district of Mokta, New York in July 2008. The identity of the creature and why can't I read tonight? Veracity of stories surrounding it have been the subject of controversy and speculation. The corpse was eventually decided by experts to be a water degraded raccoon. Similar carcasses have washed up on American and Canadian shores and have been called, I'm not even going to attempt to say that name, or the ugly one by indigenous groups who believe to be an omen of bad luck. Now I'm looking at this picture. It does not look like a raccoon, but it possibly could if the raccoon didn't have a snout, had curved teeth, might have been the colors of brown and red or white or tan. Doesn't seem to have any significant markings. I don't know if that could be a raccoon. Um, let's talk about the history a little bit. The story began on July 23rd, 2008, with an article in the local newspaper, The Independent. Jenna Hewitt, 26 of Montauk, and three friends said they found the creature on July 12th at the Ditch Plains Beach, 2 miles east of the district. The beach is a popular surfing spot at Rhinestein Estate Park, owned by the town of East Hampton. Jenna Hewitt was quoted, "We were looking for a place to sit and play ball games, like they did in the summer of '93 when we saw some people looking at something. We didn't know what it was. We joked that maybe it was something from Plum Island." What's Plum Island? I've never heard of Plum Island. Her color photograph of the creature ran in black and white under the headline, "The Hound of Bonnockville," a pun on the name Bannack. I'm just going to butcher all of this. Bannackers, which refers to the natives of East Hampton, and The Hound of the Baskervilles by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. The lighthearted article speculated that the creature might be a turtle or some mutant experiment from the Plum Island Animal Disease Center. There's a Plum Island Animal Disease Center? What does that mean? Is that like a sanctuary or a rescue? Um, it then it then noted that Larry Penny, the East Hampton Natural Resources Director, had concluded it was a raccoon with its upper jaw missing. Okay, I didn't see that in the photo, but there are rumors that the carcass had been taken away from the site. A local newspaper quoted an anonymous resident who claimed that the animal was only the size of a cat and that it had decomposed to a skeleton by the time the press coverage. She would not identify its location for inspection. Hewitt claimed that a guy took it and put it in the woods in his backyard, but would not say who or where. Her father denied that his daughter was keeping the body's location a secret. I would turn that thing over. Hey, Michelle. You gonna fall asleep to some monsters, some cryptids? Hewitt and her friends were interviewed on Plum TV and a local public access television show. An employee of Evolutionary Media Group in Los Angeles passed a photo of the creature to Anna Holmes of Jezebel, claiming that the friend's sister saw the monster in Montauk. Holmes then passed it along to the website Gawker, which gave it wide attention on July 29th under the headline Dead Monster Washes Ashore in Montauk. Photographs were widely circulated via email and weblogs, and the national media picked up on it, raising speculation about the creature. The potential urban legend statue of the Montauk Monster was noted by Snoops. Snopes? I have no idea how to pronounce that. It's a truth verification website. The monster has been discussed on Conspiracy Theory with Jesse Ventura. On August 4, 2011, the Montauk Monster was featured on the second episode of the third season of Ancient Aliens, titled Aliens and Monsters. Oh, I had no idea it spread that far. So these are the theories of what it could be. Sorry, I'm just reading the chat. You guys are having midnight snacks without me? Ooh. Jersey, we definitely have to do something paranormal for the Jersey side. And going forward, I might actually make the show earlier for everybody on the East Coast, because we should all talk about haunted stuff, together, and get freaked out before bed. That way you guys can't really sleep. Michelle, I'm finishing my bourbon. You're lucky. I don't even know what day it is, to be honest with you. Thank you to my children. Let's see what else we got. I would probably go to New York or New Jersey. It doesn't seem like their paranormal stuff isn't too bad. I say that, but then watch me go and then I chicken out and I cry. Let's see. Another common thing that I've noticed is that everybody has a sea serpent. So, like a large, overgrown sea serpent. Yeah, you guys have the Jersey Devil. But everybody has a sea serpent. They could be dinosaurs, which maybe I think they might be. Let's see what else. The Pine Barrens are freaky. I've heard about the Pine Barrens, but I don't think I've heard stories from them. We could do a show on that for sure. NJ is very paranormal. Ooh. Maybe I have to go visit you and we can go do like an investigation. Or you can like stay back and then I can do an investigation, and then we can watch Disney movies in the end, because I would probably get too scared. Fresno has the Fresno Nightcrawler. I should ask my ex about that. He would probably know. Let me take a look at this one. Stellar's Sea Ape. Have you guys? Washington was chilling the town over. We had the founding fathers here. Washington was. Yeah, I need to go. I need to go do a ghost hunt over there, Wrath. And then we can bake bread together, right? And then we can go shopping and leave random groceries on people's front doors, just to be like creeping them out with like household goods that they need. That was just an offshoot of a joke that we were having earlier. But um, Steller's sea ape is a purported marine mammal observed by German zoologist George Steller on August 10, 1741, around the Shumagon Islands in Alaska. The animal was described as being around 5 feet long with a dog like head, long drooping whiskers, an elongated but robust body, thick fur coat, no limbs, and tail fins much like a shark. He described the creature as being playful and inquisitive like a monkey. I don't know how to feel about that. After observing it for 2 hours, he attempted to shoot and collect the creature, but missed, and the creature swam away. That's interesting. There have been 4 attempts to scientifically classify the creature, described as, I'm going to butcher this one too, Simia marina, siren, cynocephala. I have no idea what they were trying to name these things. Try they were trying to classify it 4 different times, and there's 4 different names. I'm going to butcher them. Science, please come up with easier pronounced names, just like in medicine, because I can't pronounce those either when I'm trying to tell people what their meds are. Stellar simply might be a misidentified northern fur seal. So like maybe we're confusing like real life mammals with monsters, or monsters with mammals. Dog had a dog like head. A seal has a dog like head. It could have a dog like head. An elonged body. I mean, it could be a seal. Whiskers. A seal has whiskers. Thick fur coat. No limbs. No limbs. But it had tail fins like a shark. Maybe they're deformed or mutated. I agree with you. Like maybe this seal, maybe it got like eaten by like a shark early in its life and it grew up with no like front legs. Um that's what I'm thinking. Playful, maybe a seal could be playful. Um I'm glad that he missed. Let's see. It says the creature purportedly stared at the ship for 2 hours. It got so close to the ship that it could have been poked by a pole, but would swim further out whenever the crew attempted to approach. Yeah, maybe he got bit. Yeah, I agree with you, Wrath. I agree with you. He said it raised a third of its body out of the water, maintaining a human like posture for several minutes. After a half hour, the creature dove under the water and swam underneath the ship to the other side, and did this repeatedly about 30 times. Stellar stated that when a large seaweed stalk, about 5.5 to 7.5 meters or 18 to 24 feet long, floated by the creature, quickly swam towards it and grabbed it with its mouth. The creature then swam closer to the ship and purportedly did juggling tricks with it like a trained monkey, though eating pieces of it now and again. Seller's description of it as a sea monkey probably stemmed more from such behavior rather than actual resemblance to a monkey. Stellar attempted to collect the animal, so he took a gun and fired at it, but missed. He reported that the creature disappeared for a moment, but quickly came back, frightened, and once again gradually near the ship. Stellar fired at it again, but missed, only wounded the creature, which swam away and was not seen again. What a jerk. I'm sorry. I know it was probably all in the name of science, but what a jerk. Like, that poor animal. I'm sad. Uh, I know because I'm. I know because I'm smart. I like it. In June 1965, on his ketch, a sailor, Miles Smeaton, and his daughter Cleo, and his friend Henry Combe purportedly saw a similar creature on the northern coast of Etka Island. They reported the creature as being about 5 feet long and having 10 to 13 um, centimeter long reddish yellow fur and face resembling that of a dog breed Shih Tzu. Okay, that's getting a little bit more specific. Mr. Smeaton details this 10 to 15-second encounter in his book, Misty Island, noting Stellar's observation closely matched his own. Here's a description. Stellar, well, I didn't want Stellar. I wanted Smeaton's thing. Dog-like head, pointed, erect ears. So seals don't have ears, right? They have they don't have pointy ears, I'll say. Whiskers on the upper and lower lips resembling a Fu Manchu mustache. Thick fur, gray on the back, reddish white on the belly. He did not see any forelimbs or pectoral fins. The tail had 2 fins. The upper fin doubled the size of the lower fin, much like a shark. Maybe it was just a deformed seal and it got chomped on. Maybe. We're talking about stellar sea cow or the other stellar creature. We're talking about, who are we talking about? Stellar's sea ape. So we talked about Frogman from Ohio. And then now we're talking about Stellar's sea ape, which I'm thinking a seal who might have been deformed somehow and then got chomped on by a shark and then adapted and overcome. That's my theory. Oh, but the pictures don't exactly look like that. This one has a tail. And definitely does not look like, yeah, it doesn't look like it has a dog head either. It's far from what the descriptions say it is. Okay, what about there's the goat man. There is, let me see, it'll be a good one. There's a worm. Let me take a look at this one. Let's take a look at Dover Demon. Stellar didn't have a naturalist with him to take detailed notes, sadly. No, he didn't. I'm kind of upset that he shot at it and wounded it, to be honest. Feels kind of cruel in the heart of hearts. But maybe it was in the name of science, which is fine, but still. The Dover Demon is a creature reportedly sighted on April 12th to 21 to 22, 1977, in Dover, Massachusetts, a town about 15 miles southwest of downtown Boston. Sightings. 17-year-old William Bill Bartlett claimed that while driving on April 21st, 1977, he saw a creature about 4 feet tall with glowing orange eyes and no nose or mouth and a watermelon shaped head on top of a broken stone wall on Farm Street in Dover, Massachusetts. 15-year-old John Baxter reported seeing a similar creature on Miller Hill Road the same evening. Another 15-year-old, Abby Brabham, claimed to have seen the creature the following night on Springdale Avenue. Okay, I kind of think that's credible because there's 3 different people who saw this in 3 different locations. The teenagers all drew sketches of the alleged creature. Bartlett wrote on his sketch, "I, Bill Bartlett, swear on a stack of Bibles that I saw this creature." According to a local news report, the locations of the sightings plotted on a map lay in a straight line over 2 miles. Wow, that's interesting. The sightings were not made public until the first half of May. At that time, a local investigator of unexplained phenomenon noted similarities to creatures in the Kelly Hopkinsville encounter of 1955. Even though none of the witnesses reporting seeing a UFO, the sightings were also investigated by the Mutual UFO Network and associated groups. How would you do research on that though? I guess just collecting second people's accounts. Possible explanations. It has been suggested that the creature may have been a fowl or a moose calf. But how do you explain the orange eyes? Skeptic Joe Nickel believes the creature was likely a snow owl based on the size and plumage, which would have reflected in yellow headlights of older cars as the peach color described by Bartlett. In addition, the long, spindly arms and fingers of the supposed creature could be partially opened wings and splayed feathers, all at the wingtips of a snowy owl. Police told the Associated Press that the creatures reported by the teenagers were probably nothing more than a school vacation hoax. Skeptic Ben Radford had suggested the sighting may have been influenced by the pop culture of the time, as 1977 was the year Star Wars and Close Encounters of the Third Kind were released. Secondhand witness, maybe third hand, could be. Dover Demon has been featured in American Horror Story. It looks like Lost Tapes on Animal Planet as well. He's in a comic book series. That's interesting. I've never heard of the Dover Demon. Let me see what that incident it was referring to of the alien incident. Hopkins encounter. Let me see this one. Oh, darn. Oh, it actually pulled up a news article. So this looks like it's a news article from newspaper.com. Creature reports worry Dover police chief. Transcript. Creature. Y'all, this does not look like an owl. From what they drew, this is no owl. This looks like a human being. 2 legs, 2 arms, 4 fingers, 4 toes, a head kind of like a watermelon, though I think it looks like a upright potato. um, wearing goggles. It looks like, at least to me, no mouth, no nose. Definitely not an owl. I don't think I would confuse this thing with an owl. I'm just checking with the chat. Hey, girly. I'm still recovering from heat. Oh, are you okay, Golf? Yeah, grab some water. Stay cool. Take a rest. Okay. So the article's name, Creature Reports Bury Dover Police Chief. Police say recent reports of strange orange-eyed creatures were probably nothing more than a school vacation hoax. But a few nagging doubts linger. The teenagers have reported seeing a creature resembling comic book conceptions of a spaceman at night last month along dark, lonely roads in this community of 5,000, about 15 miles southwest of Boston. The only thing that worries me is the story of Bill Bartlett, 17, one of the witnesses, Police Chief Carl Sheridan says. He described the youth as an outstanding artist and a reliable witness. Well, that's helpful. A police spokesman said reports of the sightings were not made public by police until last week. He said officers searched the areas of the reported sightings without finding anything. The teenagers said the creature had no ears, no mouth, and no nose. It was described as 3.5 feet tall with white, melon-like head, rough skin, and glowing eyes. Okay. Sorry, just reading the chat. Where was I? He said the officer searched the area, reported sightings without finding anything. The teenagers said the creature had no ears, no mouth, and no nose. Rough skin. 2 of the teenagers made sketches. One was Bartlett, who was a member of Boston's Copley Art Society, a well-known amateur arts guild. It scared me to death. I couldn't go back and see it, said Bartlett, the first person to report the creature. He told the Associated Press he was driving along Farm Street at 10:30, April 21st, when he spotted something on top of a broken stone wall. I thought it was a dog, but when it looked back at me with bright orange eyes, I knew it wasn't a dog, he said. The high school junior said he drew a sketch while driving home. That's frightening. That's frightening. 2 hours later, John Baxter, 15, said he saw the creature while walking home from his girlfriend's house. Baxter said he got within 15 feet of the creature along a creek in a heavily wooded area. He was standing on 2 feet on a rock. His feet were molded around a rock, and he was leaning against a tree. It looked like a monkey with a figure-8 head, Baxter said. Baxter said he backed away and returned home to make a drawing which is similar to Baxter's. Baxter said he At midnight, April 22nd, Abby Bradham, 15, claims to have spotted the creature sitting upright while she was driving home with her boyfriend. According to Lauren Coleman, a local author and investigator of unexplained phenomenon, the creature drawn by Bartlett is like a creature that attacked Hopkins, Kentucky farm family in 1955. Police said they're not investigating the sightings, but there is a watercolor painting of the creature mounted in the police station. Raph says, this is a side note because we're doing some Blake Lively stuff too, not on the show, but in the mornings and stuff. She's got a petition boycotting Ryan and Blake. So if you see that petition, go ahead and sign it. It is to create a safer environment um, in the entertainment industry for kids. I am all for it. And I like the idea. Okay, what else we got? Dover Demon. I'm kind of wondering what this Fresno Nightcrawler is. Fresno Nightcrawler is a cryptid said to originate in Fresno, California. It's described as semi-humanoid, white in color, long-legged, and claimed to be typically spotted in pairs. They have been compared to walking pairs of pants. Wrath says, I would freak out if I saw something like these while driving home. I don't know. I think I would turn around. Or if someone was with me, I'd be like, did you see that? Did you see that? Because I didn't see that. Um, Fresno Nightwalker looks like it was first seen in 2007. So newer creature. So the Fresno Nightcrawler was first popularized by CCTV footage shot in 2007 by a man in South Fresno, featured on the television network Univision. The video is claimed to show a white figure like pair of legs without a torso walking from the top left to the bottom right of the screen, followed by a second figure walking in the same direction. The Fresno Nightcrawler was featured on the History Channel program The Proof is Out There. Subsequent footage claimed to be similar creatures was shot in Yosemite Lakes Park in 2011, and there have been claimed sightings as far away as Poland. Oh, I didn't even know that. Pair of pants. Yep, walking pair of pants. They look like a walking pair of pants. No head, no arms, just legs. So think of like a stick in a pair of pants. Fact or faked Paranormal Files coined the name Nightcrawlers and said its attempts to investigate the footage was a hoax proved inconclusive. Claims to relate the Fresno Nightcrawler to Native American legends have been debunked. So what is it? It spawned merchandise and fans around the world. The Nightcrawler is super simple, uncomplicated, just a pair of pants out for a walk. A pair of pants that went for a walk. I'm not sure if I don't know what to think of it. I just had another idea for shock culture, interesting urban myths. I'm all for it, Wrath. We should do it. We have a lot of things planned, and I need to get on that, especially about the Baha'i faith, which is really interesting culturally and historically for that country. Yeah, Wrath, I need to get with you and set on a date because I know I'm behind. Let's see what else is there. Uh, what else? I'm just looking at some of the choices I have. Singapore has the Monkey Man. Oh, Mississippi has the Chattawa Monster. Large ape-like creature. See, large ape creature is everywhere. A stick and a pair of pants. Yeah, that's what they describe that's what it looks like, a stick with a pair of pants as the Fresno night walkers. What else is there? There are so many primates or bipedal creatures. It's really interesting. Yeti, urine. Let me take. Mm, this is the. Did we read about the Kandahar giant? This is a 13 feet tall, red-headed man with 6 fingers on each hand and 2 rows of teeth. This is out of Kandahar, Afghanistan. Ooh, this goes way back, you guys. This is considered a giant. Um, which I think, and I don't mean to be wrong, but I think in some biblical texts it does talk about giants. If someone can confirm that. This is going back to, looks like ancient Greece or Greek. In folklore, giants are beings of humanoid appearance, but are at times, I'm going to butcher this, prodigious in size and strength, or bear an otherwise notable appearance. The word giant is first attested in 1297 from Roberts of, I'm going to butcher that too, Gloucester's Chronicle. It is derived from the ancient Greek. Let's see. Where does it talk about this creature? It talks about Paul Bunyan. Oh, well, I guess he was all over. Talks about the Bible. I'm trying to get to the good stories. Sorry. Um. Oh, giants in Armenia. Okay. Hawk was known as the founder of the Armenian state. Hawk was part of a race of giants who helped construct the Tower of Babel. Ancient historian Moses, I'm going to butcher that, so I'm just going to say K, wrote Hike was handsome and personable with curly hair, sparkling eyes, and strong arms. Among the giants, he was the bravest and most famous opponent of all who raised their hand to become absolute ruler over the giants and heroes. Mount Nemrut is known to have received its name from an Armenian tradition in which Nimrod was killed by an arrow shot by Hayek during a massive battle between two rival armies of giants of the southeast of Lake Van. I have never heard of that. Has anybody heard of the giants? There's a lot of creatures from Middle East. There are stories of different giants attacking even modern troops. Modern troops, like recent, like 2000s, 1900s. That's interesting. I've never heard of the. Wow, okay. Aztec. They even have it in Aztec. Aztec mythology features the, I'm going to butcher this one too, Crenominson, a race of giant men created in one of the previous solar eras. They are credited with the construction of the Teotihuacan. I'm butcher that. Um, it looks like a structure. There's all of these. There's all of these cultures that have giants. Basque, it looks like giants are rough but generally righteous characters of formidable strength living in the hills of the Basque country. Giants stand for the Basque people reluctant to convert to Christianity who decided to stick to the old lifestyle and customs in the forest. Sometimes they hold the secret of ancient techniques and wisdom unknown to the Christians. like in the legend of San Martin, is that Tixki? While their most outstanding feature is their strength, it follows that in many legends all over the Basque territory, the giants are held accountable for the creation of many stone formation hills and ages old megalithic structures, with similar explanations provided in different spots. However, giants show different variants and forms. They're mostly referred to as Gentilak and Murak, while as individuals they can be represented as the Lord of the Forests, Samson, a variation of the biblical Samson. Um, I didn't know that. Bulgarian, Chile, Greek, what else? Hindu. Uh, wow, I am amazed by this. I'm just scrolling through. Okay, Norse. In Norse mythology, um, are often opposed. Let's see. In Norse mythology, the Jatnor, it's a mix of Old English and English, are often opposed to the gods. While often translated as giants, most are described as being roughly human size. Some are portrayed as huge, such as some frost giants. Fire giants and mountain giants, the Jotnor, are the origin of most of various monsters in Norse mythology. And in the eventual battle of, I'm going to butcher that one too, Ragnarok, the giants will storm Asgard and fight the gods until the world is destroyed. Even so, the gods themselves were related to the Jotnar by many marriages and descent. There are also Jotnar, such as Igor, who have good relationship with the gods and bear little difference in statues to them. Odin, often regarded as the chief gods, is the great grandson of Jedun, Ymir. Norse mythology also holds that the entire world of men was created from the flesh of Ymir, a giant of cosmic proportions whose name is considered by some scholars to share a root with Yama of Indo-Iranian mythology. Trolls are beings that are sometimes very large. The name troll is applied to Jutnar. I didn't know that. An old Icelandic legend says that the two night prowling giants, a man and a woman, were traversing the, I'm going to butcher that, Jord near Drangi Island with their cow when they were surprised by bright rays of daybreak. As a result of exposure to daylight, all three were turned into stone. Draghi represents the cow, and curling, supposedly the female giant, the name means old hag, is to the south of it. Carl, the male giant, was to the north of the island, but he disappeared long ago. Interesting. Just checking with the chat. Wrath, me thinks Emmy didn't watch the Marvel movies or Thor. No, I definitely have not watched any of the Marvel movies. I will admit I am not a Marvel fan. Yep, I wonder if they smoke tobacco or weed. Weeds are illegal here. There's a great version of the story of Thor on Netflix. It's from Norway or Sweden and it's dubbed in English, but it's really good. I think it's called, I'm going to butcher that, Ragnarok. I can't. Uh, Thor, Loki, Odin, all those perps. End of the world, ice giants. Ragnarok. Got it. Ragnarok. Thanks, Gelf. Girly says we call them capres in the Philippines, who cool and lazy. They just smoke and sit on trees. Oh, I've never heard that. I need to ask my dad about that. Ragnarok. It's about a single mom and her two sons, and weird things start to happen, and the kids realize that they're reincarnated Thor and Loki. Uh, Jesse, or Jess the Mess Official, you said it great. Watch the season. The Ice Giants are their evil rich family? Oh no. There's a lot of giants out there. Well, here's a theory or a question for the chat. Do you guys think that they existed at one time? Do you think that maybe we were like all giants at one time and we kind of just like shrank down? I mean, because we have giant mammals. Look at the blue whale and the whale shark. Let's see what else is here. Ugh, this chronic fatigue is real. Oh my goodness. No wonder why my kids let me sleep. It was nice of them, but I definitely missed that collaboration with Yarn and Order. Now I feel horrific about it because I really wanted to do that collaboration. Ragnarok. Do you guys want to go to Sri Lanka? Small humanoids. You know, I have a theory. Like smaller people, I don't think we'll ever discover smaller people until after we discover like and confirm Bigfoot, because the smaller people I think are easier to hide, and that's maybe why we never seen them. Um, let's see. Is it? I'm gonna butcher this. Nativo were said to be a small tribe of small Bigfoot or Yeti-like hominid cryptid native to Sri Lanka. No archaeological evidence has been found to prove the existence of these humanoids, but there are ambiguous in Veda mythology and Sri Lankan folklore. So it looks like they stand between 3 and 4 feet in height, with females being shorter. They're covered in hair, which is often said to be reddish in color. They were said to have very short, powerful arms with short, long, clawed hands. Unlike monkeys, they walked upright always and had no tails. I believe they're taller versions of humans out there. And also, Galt says we have discovered smaller people, though, at bite just a finger bone. The Flor- Flornesis people, aka the hobbits. Ooh, the hobbits. I should look that up. Um, Unlike monkeys, they walked upright always and had no tails. Eating whatever raw game they could catch. You said that's always red hair. Yeah, that is really interesting. Um, that's really interesting. That's red hair. They did not use tools. They basically disemboweled their prey with their long claws and hooked nails, allowing them to feed on the entrails. That's pretty graphic. Stone building. Ooh, okay. The last of these were said to be exterminated by the Vedas of the Linama during the late 18th century when they were rounded up into a cave. The entrance, which was then blocked up with bushwood, which was set alight, suffocating the trap. Oh my God. Over 3 days. The cave's position was lost when the Vedas of Linama themselves became extinct just a few generations later. It's estimated that genocide took place around 1800, with some estimates at 1775. That's really sad. That is really sad. The story of the extermination was first reported by reporter Hugh Neville in 1887, who was told of it by a Sinhalese hunter who was himself told by an elderly Linama Vita, who himself had been told by a relative of his named, I'm going to butcher that, Corelia. Despite being a fourth-hand account, the story was confirmed in 1915 when Frederick Lewis was given the same information by several informants in Yuva in Panawa, Padu. According to an old Vita named Desem Hami, um, they were exterminated no more than 5 generations earlier than his visit. His grandfather had taken part in the genocide. That's sad. It looks like 1963, there was an expedition to the caves. I'm going to butcher that name of Kading Bigala to search for evidence. He discovered the shells of mollusks, vertebrae, and shells of turtles, animals which were have said to be fed on. Oh, there's a first and only recorded sighting in 1984 when one was allegedly seen by a Spanish anthropist, Salvador Martinez. He claimed that he saw a human-like with a coat of long hair with scabs and emitted unintelligible sounds before fleeing into the forest. Okay. Jesse says apparently giants were one of the reasons Noah's Ark happened. God wanted to rid the evil, and giants were half humans or were half something reptiles. That is interesting. I've never heard that story before. That's interesting. Thank you for the input. 2019, there was also another sighting. This is a reported of totally black gorilla faced and having long claws. So it's a little bit different from what the Vita descriptions are. Um, could be an unknown human race. It could be related to that of one in the Philippines. But in the Philippines, it appears that these are shorter, about 2 feet in height. Could be attributed to racial migrations. I don't know, guys. I don't know. It's interesting though. And some of this I hope doesn't get kept secret because a lot of this I feel like if it was like, yeah, we have tiny people or Bigfoot or Jersey Devil or something like it, I don't think all of America would freak out or the world would freak out. What do you guys think? Do you think if someone said, or like gnomes, if someone said gnomes exist, would anybody freak out? Or would you just be like, eh, I don't think I'd freak out. Unless it was like, I don't know, like an invasion of vampires or zombies, I would probably freak out at that. But like Bigfoot, I wouldn't freak out about that. I mean, he's not known to like, stalk anybody or, you know, murder anybody in the woods. Um, you know, I just think that maybe if they do exist, maybe we should just start talking about it to make it less scary and more normal. I mean, because they're finding new creatures all the time, you know, and that's not scary. That's like celebrated. Like, hey, we found a new little mini monkey and everybody celebrates. Well, what happens if you find like a new little gnome or something or a fairy or I don't know about a troll? Trolls, they're kind of like creepy creatures to me now, but maybe they're like Disney friendly. We can assume that they're Disney friendly. Um, have you guys heard about the pterodactyl? And Wrath, if you're still awake, and I know it's late, I should have did this first. Dinosaurs, Wrath, dinosaurs are making a comeback. A pterodactyl. Let's see. Let me see the story. It's gonna give me a story. Um, no, it's not gonna give me a story. It's just gonna give me history. But there's supposed to be a pterodactyl in Idaho. Let's see. It does not give me a story about this pterodactyl. I'm disappointed. Let's see if there's anything in here in the references. Nope. Nothing in the references about a story about the pterodactyl, just historical stuff. That's disappointing. Let's see what else. I think that's it. Let me see. List of urban legends, if that's different. No, this really is urban legends. 2016 clown sightings. Was that an urban legend or did that actually happen? Because I really think it happened. Uh, oh, these are all urban legends, and there's a ton of them. I guess Bigfoot is an urban legend. Uh, Black Annis, folklore legend that describes a blue-faced hag or witch with iron claws and a taste for human flesh, especially children. Well, I guess we know where Hansel and Gretel is. There's a reason for urban legends. It had to start somewhere. I agree. I totally agree. Black-eyed children. Our urban legends suppose paranormal creatures that resemble children between the ages of 6 and 16 with pale skin and black eyes, who are reportedly seen hitchhiking or panhandling or are encountered on doorsteps of residential homes. Tales of black eyed children have appeared in pop culture since the late 1990s. Ooh, who remembers Bloody Mary? That's a good urban legend. I remember being in my mirror saying Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary. And this is growing up, so this is already the house with like creepy activity. So I'm sure that never helps the creepy activity. Um, Wow, that one's horrific. The Blue Star Tattoo legend is, I've never heard of that, but that sounds horrific. Uh, Bunny Man, an urban legend that probably originated from two incidences in Fairfax County, Virginia in 1970, but has been spread through the Washington, D.C. area. There are many variations to legend, but most involve a man or ghost wearing a rabbit costume who attacks people with an axe. I would be freaked out if I heard that story. Good night, Jesse. Let's see what else there is. Um, the choking Doberman is an urban legend that originated in the United States. The story involves a protective pet found by its owner gagging on human fingers lodged in its throat. As the story unfolds, the dog owner discovers an intruder whose hand is bleeding from the dog bite. I would believe that. I'm not sure that would be an urban legend. That sounds pretty. Oh my goodness. If Wrath is still up, I need to send this to her. Clown. I do not mess with clowns. Clowns are creepy. They always have been for me. I have been to one circus that was in Mexico. I'm not sure if I enjoyed it. I might have been talking to my friends. Um, well, guys, I've been on here for an hour. I think I'm going to power it down. It'll be a shorter episode tonight. I should be back tomorrow evening and might do some Jersey Devil stuff. And I'll let you know. Monday, I do have a collab with Bocce. I'm still trying to get back in touch with you on order because we slept through our collab, but check out her content. Her content is really excellent too. All right, guys. I know everybody's sleeping at this paranormal hour, so I will end this. Thanks, guys. I hope you have a beautiful evening and stay terrified and scared. Happy dreams. Bye.